Now, moving on to the next step, we want to establish our values. And the way we'll do that is we're going to start building up some layers within each of these stacks. I think our best bet is to work on our metal. And what I like to do at this stage is just focus on my diffuse channel. So I'm going to make a new group by pressing Control G underneath the metal group, and we're going to call this values. And inside our values, I'm going to add a simple generator. I'm going to right click, add a generator here. Sorry. On the fill layer inside of our values, I'm going to add a generator here. Turn that base color off of that generator. And we're going to Alt left click on the color right here. And the first thing we're going to add is an ambient occlusion. And when we first pop this up, you'll see here on the texture sheet that we're getting some good value already established. But we need to make sure that we're only affecting the color channels. So up here, it has all the channels that are being generated for the ambient occlusion is generating information for these channels. And we're just going to Alt left click on the color map. Now you'll see here, I have a nice base white outside of the cavities there where the faces are. So we're starting to get a little bit more value here. And we can just play around with changing the balance here. I'm going to go a little darker, and I might see what some contrast things do. Like the blur a little bit. I kind of like maybe just a little bit of blur. I might type in an integer 0.15 and we'll call this AO. And then we're going to add another fill layer. We're going to put this AO on top of it. And I am going to set this to a more mid-range color like what it was. And I'm going to set this AO to be a multiply. And what multiply does is it only takes the dark values and overlays them over the color below it. So it's grabbing all the dark values and adding a nice boost and still maintaining that gray color right there. Okay. Now, start playing around with some other generators. Let's add another fill layer on top of the AO. And let's go ahead and add a left clicking for just the color. Let's add a curvature map. And on our curvature map here, we're going to make it only color map because we're only editing the color map. And I'm going to see about lowering my bounce, so I'm just getting my whites here. And what these whites are going to do, after I blur them a little bit, these are going to serve to kind of make the edges pop. Because I got all these nice dark values from the ambient occlusion, I'm going to set this blend mode here on the right. That's what this little drop-down menu is called. I'm going to set this to screen. And now you'll see if I hide this, you'll see that I'm losing that nice white highlight that just popped up. Now I'm going to maybe drop the opacity because I don't need that much edge boost. A lot of these things are more felt than seen, especially at that base value level. And then let's do one more value setup. by adding a light. And the lights are a little tricky. You don't want to go too hard with this. But my idea is to a normal 100%. I want to make sure the light is shining down on our characters here to kind of get that big cast shadow there on like the bottom of the cheeks. That's something that's very present in the concept, so I wanted to show it in this. And I'm just adjusting this vertical angle slider and trying to find the right shadows that are going to tell the story that I'm looking for. Like about that much. We'll put that there. And this one is something that I'm going to put very low on the layer stack. And it's important that I change my blending mode to soft light. Like that, like so. And if I just press C a couple times, I can really see what the letter C, I can see what all these changes are doing. If I change it to hard light, what do I get? And do I like that more? Change the highlight level to something like that. I'm just playing with these sliders to see what if I can find any preferences. Sorry about the dog. Okay, you see the difference with a little bit of that, with that light generator in there, we finally get a little bit of directionality onto it. I think I'm going to turn my light attenuation down. I'm going to turn this to be less opaque, so lowering the opacity on that one. And fairly happy with that. That's my settings for my base values. I'm going to rename this to be subtle light. And I'm going to duplicate my, or I might increase my edge boost just a tad. And then we'll press M to go back material mode, and we'll see what we've got cooking so far. Looking pretty cool. Get some nice round numbers on this. 55, 80, 100 on the AO, 100 on the fill layer. Okay, we'll call that our base layer of values, our base values, and then we'll kind of push it from there. All right, see you in the next video.